Hello, I'm going to talk to you about luck and Donald Trump and my dog. I'll start with my dog just because some of you have been asking. I discovered that there was a chance he might have leishmaniasis, although there is nothing coming up in the tests. I asked the lab for more tests and they refused to give them to me, saying there's no need. Given his history, that lesion is most likely leishmaniasis, and that's as far as we're going to go. The fact is they haven't found anything, and so I'm going to act accordingly. I asked the vet to write a letter explaining to the doggy nursery where he goes that he is not infectious at the moment because he's got no signs of anything in his blood. And so long as he can play with his mates, I'm happy. The fact is, though, I know his life will probably be short because even without the leishmaniasis, he also has Perthes disease. I mean, he's been very unlucky in the illnesses he has. I should think from the result of rough living and malnutrition. And he... Perthes is a degenerative hip condition which will cause him a lot of pain. And I have seen far too many people up at the stables with horses dragging themselves around, obviously in intense distress, and these people can't bring themselves to let go. And I do hope I have the strength to do that when the time comes. But at the moment, it's not now. So that's the dog settled. And I hope that, he's already 5 years old, so maybe another couple of years, maybe 3 years, I think. We'll see. And I'm talking now about the Perthes, just the Perthes. We don't know what's going on with the other thing. But I do hope that he has had luck in the place he's fetched up in, that he's comfortable and well fed for a change and has the affection he obviously craves. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, I made a video and I was wearing a yellow sweater and the dog wanted a cuddle, so I gave him a cuddle, and then I sat in front of my camera and I saw my chest was just covered in black dog hair because he's molting all over the place at the time. And I thought, well, I can't go and change now. I'll just swivel it round. It was a polo neck sweater. So I'll just swivel it round and it's clean on the back and nobody will notice. And would you believe it? Somebody noticed and made a comment that it was back to front. So now that gives you something to do. You could look through all my old videos over the past month or so for me wearing a yellow polo neck sweater. And you'll notice, I wear it quite a lot of times, but you'll notice in at least one of them, it's back to front. And now you know why. Okay, well, that's the good luck, I hope, of my dog. Let's get on to the good luck of Donald Trump. Because he really has been blessed by the lucky God, hasn't he? Losing that election may have been traumatic both to himself and his followers, but no, hang on a minute. I have to interrupt myself. You see, he did lose. Yeah, it may have been legitimate or it may have been because of cheating. In fact, it's probably because of cheating, but he still lost. He was outmaneuvered one way or the other, and we all have to come to terms with that. He lost the election because they got round various things he didn't foresee. And those of you who say he didn't lose the election, well, look at it this way. He's out of this Fauci mess now. He can stand there and say, I told you so, and he did. There's no amount of media erasing that can hide that because they made such a fuss out of him actually telling us so. So here we have this situation where Trump can stand on the sidelines in Mar-a-Lago, whatever it's called, and be interviewed between rounds of golf and telling everyone that because he was shut down by Twitter, he couldn't get the message out. And because there were machinations organised by people like Pelosi and Schumer, and I am inclined to say evil people, but I'm not sure I'd be allowed to do that, by people like Pelosi and Schumer keeping him tied up and stopping him from executing a lot of his plans. And because of some by now obvious internal government plotting from what we in Britain and Australasia would call the civil service. I don't know what you call it in America. But I'm afraid you're going to have to hear it called the civil service. Because of all their plotting and blocks, he couldn't get on with the job of finding the cause of this epidemic. And as anyone knows, finding a cause is a good way to finding a cure. It took a Swiss lab to reverse engineer the bug and then isolate how it did what it did. A Swiss lab. And they had to do that because the Chinese weren't giving anyone the information. But because of all that, he couldn't do what he wanted to do, and therefore people died. More people died than might have because he was prevented from doing his job, because things were hidden from him, and because he was hamstrung by various organisations who had an interest in him not being there. And I'm not just talking about people in the USA dying, of course. It's a worldwide phenomenon, and what America does, the rest of the world does as well, in large part. He can say all of that very legitimately. And the point I'm trying to make is the blame for what happened will shift from him to the next administration. Had Trump been re-elected, he would have been blamed. I'm not saying that's fair or even correct, but I am saying that's how the mob thinks. And mobs seem to be driving politics pretty well at present. And mob mentality isn't only fickle, but completely illogical. And Trump is actually well out of it. I'm absolutely certain that with this scandal at their door and the upcoming southern border disaster, which can't be hidden forever, it'll eventually leak out, whatever CNN does. There'll be other things as well that I don't know about, because when an institution is rotten, it's never just rotten in one place, is it? It's rotten all over the place. So I can offer all of you ever-Trumpers some comfort and joy. The Democratic Party is heading straight into that curve in the track, like a train with no brakes we saw screaming along the rails last November, unstoppable, powerful, noisy, and now it's heading at high speed straight for that section of the track it can't see because the mountain's in the way. And we're going to get one of those cartoon moments where the whole thing is in midair, scrabbling for support before heading straight down into the valley, taking all its coaches filled with the mass media along with it. I'm absolutely certain. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.